Hello, curl friends, and welcome back to Curl Talk. Curl Talk is your one stop shop for all things natural hair and healthy lifestyle. Today, we're taking a special detour on our hair journey and diving deep into the world of wellness. But fear not, because a healthy body leads to healthy, thriving curls. I'm your host, Gail Burney, and joining me on this exciting episode is the amazing Kathy Robinson. Kathy is a certified wellness coach, yoga instructor, and self proclaimed hair enthusiast. Welcome to the show, Kathy. Let's get Kathy on with us.
Hi.
Oh, 1 second. It's
Hi.
coming. There she is. Hi,
Here she
Kathy.
is.
Welcome to
Hi.
Curl
How are
Talk.
you?
Thank you for joining us
Thank
tonight.
you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're thrilled to have you here to be chatting about wellness and natural hair with all our curl friends. So, we're going to dive right into it. Can you share a little bit about your own journey with natural hair and how it connects with your passion for overall well being?
My passion for natural hair,
Yes.
good hair, healthy hair started many years ago, 23 years ago when I had my first daughter. So the hair grew long, chopped it all off, then went in and out between relaxing and braiding and let's go a span of 20 years. Last year, I just realized I wasn't really taking good care of my hair and all that come into, I will tell you how it makes with my wellness as well. When you come to a certain realization, or when I came to a certain realization that 50 doesn't mean that you have to be drab. And I decided to be what my motto for my life is to be living intentionally and to be conscious, to live in purpose, mindful, conscious, intentional living. And I realized I wasn't really much intentional with my hair. And there is a so-called person who I will not call, but she's sitting right there opposite me right now, who told me, "Girl, you have to look good every time you step out." I'm like, "Yeah, you do." And also that contributed to me being more intentional in me taking care of myself. But last year, I realized that all the braiding and not being focused and intentional with taking care of my appearance, my hair, I just chopped everything off because the braiding had changed the texture of my hair, and I didn't know what to do with it. So my excuse was braiding it, and it was thinning. It had begun to thin. You know, we get old, and thinning is in my family, and so it was a bit frustrating. And so I cut everything off. So I was like a little boy. My girls called me, "Mommy, you look like a boy." And I decided now when it was going back to be intentional, to choose products that worked with my hair because I tried so many other things before, to be more intentional. The key is being intentional with what you eat, being intentional with what I put in my hair, being intentional with how I took care of my hair. And so I can say I've seen a difference with the oils that I've used. I use a variety of products as a combination in my hair, and up it, I have seen how it has filled in with less thinning. So it's a little bit fuller, and then a few weeks ago I trimmed it, so it has that is a length of a year's growth minus 3 inches I cut off. So
Oh,
I have actually seen a lot of growth. So some days I would sit down and oil it. I oil it twice a week. And there are two different types of living conditioners that I use. I know you're not going to talk products, but one of your products gives a great hydration, which I told you earlier is a living conditioner. Awesome product. So that also gives it a luster. So sometimes you put products in your hair that make and your hair still look dull, but this is really really awesome, and that makes a big difference because how you look helps you to transfers to how you feel about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And which that goes in hand with how does taking care of my hair fits into my wellness. And especially on days when I don't feel good, I go all out and dress it up. And dressing it up doesn't necessarily mean with clothes and everything else alone, and my face, make sure I do a little bit of my face and how I dress, but also taking care of my inner self before I step out. What words do I say to myself? How am I thinking? What is the energy that I'm going to be putting out there? Because something as a quote I wrote for myself is, and I stick it up so I can see it every first thing in the morning. It says, "Your energy is your karma," and we all know we keep on saying, "Oh,
Ooh, I'm
karma
gonna
is a
steal
bitch,"
this.
but whether you put out good energy or bad energy, it's gonna come back to you. Yeah,
Yes.
and what you transmit, people feel that energy because people are your mirror.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody is acting bitchy to you, excuse my terms, but that's a lot of terms as us women, like, oh, she's bitchy, or she's, well, step back and reflect on what attitude and energy that you're giving out, because people reciprocate what we are giving out, and sometimes
Mm-hmm.
we don't reflect enough to see what our energy is, what our frequency is, because the universe and everything that's going around us operates on frequencies. Our energy operates on frequencies. So what we eat, even the water that we drink, we need to also hydrate by drinking a lot of water. And my journey with wellness started how many years ago? Going through a divorce. And I realized I have to start taking care of myself. What is it that I did? Because I wasn't really in wellness before. And then I started meditating from a seed. Sometimes seeds are planted and it takes years to grow. It's the same thing with lessons and messages in our lives. And I had this friend who told me about um, meditation all the way back in 1996. And the seed started to grow in 2010, when I started realizing something is not
Wow.
right in here. Something is not right in here. I need to be. Everything was drama. Everything was drama, and I'm very reactive. So it takes me a split minute too. So I needed to stop, step back, and look at myself and realize what is I'm going. Where am I taking this? What am I going through? And so this catapulted in me opening a spa, a health, a wellness spa, back home with a great team. But then Hurricane Maria came with massage, doing massage and yoga and life coaching, and all the way now to being a certified yoga instructor and a certified life coach, and also furthering my studies in emotional and psychological well-being, and child and adolescent psychotherapy. So it really is a passion. How do we take care of ourselves? How do we take care of the children, and by extension the family? And
Mhm.
so that's where I am at in terms of my wellness
Okay.
journey.
I want to go back to something you said. You said like when you got to 50, you realized that you have to be 50 and five, as I call it, right? Was that a mindset change for you? Because 50 and five. Um, I know that you said you started meditating since in the 19, but it only happened in 2010. That's when you saw the fruits of your labor, sort of, right? In 2010.
Well, no, I really started meditating in 2010.
Oh, okay,
Seriously,
in
yes,
2010.
I
Right.
always knew about it, but I wasn't really into the wellness thing. Life for me was just reactive. Life was
Ah, okay.
happening. Life was
Okay.
happening. People say
Mhm.
life was life in. Yeah, life was life in. And I was just like a bob on the waves. It's just go with.
Oh,
I'm sorry, my iPad.
okay. Okay. Things
you know,
happen. You're still here.
things happen.
So
I don't
I want to go
remember.
back to the when you turned 50 though. Was that a mindset change for you? Like feeling like you have to not live life, but be better at be more intentional.
Yes. As I went through a whole process of branding myself and not developing a motive for myself in terms of being intentional. But sometimes we say things and we don't really not consistent in doing it. And then when I turned
Right.
50 last year, it was like, are you really being intentional in every aspect of your life? And no, I wasn't. And especially with taking care of my hair and taking care of my physique because I was still studying and I abandoned certain things, you know. But then when I came to 50, it was like, hmm, yeah, people say you look good, but you're not doing it intentionally. You know, oh, it's genetics. I look 30. Yeah, it's genetics. But no, have a routine. What's my routine? What do I do when I get up in the morning? What do I do during the day? What do I do when I get home? So now I have a full routine when I get home in terms of the products I use to cleanse my face, um, what I do to cleanse my face, and I use somebody's rose water. Awesome. As well
Thank you.
as coconut. So I have another one I use in the night and one I use in the morning. Rose and coconut oil.
Okay.
And I have another
Mm-hmm.
coconut roll of thing or water I use under my eyes because I normally have dark dark circles under my eyes, and using the coconut oil under my eyes and massaging it every night, I saw a difference. So I kept on doing this, and as I said, being intentional in taking care of myself. So I have this whole night routine with my face, with my hair. Some days I braid it into, and I use a lot of head wraps. So sometimes I braid it and I just wrap it up for a whole week or a whole 2 weeks, and then I'll take it off and I will fit off, you know. My
Mm-hmm.
intention is because I choose what I choose to wear, as I spoke earlier with regards to energy, and do my meditations in the morning. There's a chant I say Namyo Rengekyo. It really really helps me to settle down in the mornings and to focus, to calm. And I use let me get my little stones up here. I do
Oh, you do stones though.
stones. People
Mm-hmm.
do their rosaries, different things do their stuff that they do, but this calms me. It keeps me mindful that be present, breathe,
Mm-hmm.
relax,
Mm-hmm.
be present. Everything doesn't need an answer. Be
Right.
calm. Everything is within you. So all that in terms of my, and in the nights I do also my meditations. I am mindful about the number of hours I need at night to rest,
Mm-hmm.
how many hours I
Very
spend.
important.
Very, very
Yes.
important. Before I could operate on 5 hours, I don't. I make sure I get minimum 6 hours sleep, 6 to 7 hours sleep, and I cut it off. Change my. There are times we have to say no to people, and there are times we have to redo our schedule in terms of being very, very careful. We come first, and it's okay to say no.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we have kids and the guests come over, especially with other kids, and to share their toys, and our children do not want to share, say, oh, don't be selfish. Yes, be selfish. It's okay to say no. Children need to understand that no is a word too, and
Yeah.
as well as us as adults, because when we do not teach the importance of no, because no is setting boundaries. We are teaching
Mm-hmm.
them also how to set boundaries. And a lot of times within our own lives, why we tend to be miserable sometimes is because we do not know how to set boundaries, and we do not know how to say no nicely and stick to it. My lovely Auntie Avis, God rest her soul, she always tell me, Kathy, my default word is no, and then I will go back and think if I can possibly do it, and then I could go back and say, but I've said no. But so most of us say yes, and then we have to try and figure out how to get ourselves out of the tie. No,
Mm-hmm.
In certain situations, we have to think of ourselves first. Do not over extend yourself. So that is, I'm still in that process of learning how to say no and setting boundaries. And within the last year, particularly, I have cut off things in my life, and I've cut off people that no longer serve me. And we have to realize that sometimes it's time to let go and just say bye. We have to let go, whether it's with girlfriends or boyfriends or intimate relationships or something that we wanted to do. For 20 years, I'm trying to go back to school. It wasn't the right time. I went back to school and I did what I had to do. In 3 years, got it over and done with. So all those things, I was operating on the social construct that there's a timeline, a deadline. No, there is not. There is a timeline in God's time for you. And I have also 50 helped me to establish more of that in myself. Saying no, putting myself first, being firm in my boundaries, and doing me. And it is such a peaceful place right now. It is such a peaceful place. I'm not saying there are other things. I wish somebody drop $1 million in my lap right now and tell me, Kathy, take your
Don't
money,
we all?
test. But I have learned that it is okay. It is okay. And there are always solutions. There's always a time. Don't neglect. But when there's inner peace within you, then you will get that space to get the clarity you need to figure out how to go forward. And
Mhm.
everything happens in its own time.
Right.
Did that answer your
So,
question, Gail?
yes, you did. You did. I also want to share how because why I ask you about going back to being 50, I would procrastinate a lot about exercising, a lot about things that I need to do, like journaling and all that stuff. And I procrastinate. And then when I turn 50, I'm like, okay, the next 50 years is going to be different. There's going to be boundaries, there's going to be exercise, there's going to be journaling, there's going to be all these things, right? So it was all like a mindset change for me at 50 when
Right.
I turned 50. I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. The next 50 years, this is how I'm going to live my life, right? So I started, I actually put alarms on my phone. And that's how I keep myself accountable. Because the day can go by getting involved in work and family and children and dropping off and picking up that you forget everything else that you have to do. So I actually have alarms set in my phone. So at 12:15, an alarm goes off to take a walk away from my computer. At 4:30, walk away from your computer again. So I have little reminders to do things. At 9 o'clock, my journaling alarm goes on. So I know that we have to be intentional, and because if we're not intentional, it's not gonna happen. That's for me.
That's
That's
right.
my experience.
That's very
So
true.
that's why I went back to asking you if you had a mindset change, because that's what happened for me. You spoke
Mm-hmm.
about something that I really want to go back to. You
Mm-hmm.
spoke about boundaries, saying no, and this is something that is really, really hard for people to do, to say no, because they feel that they're being selfish, that they're not wanting to help. But if they put themselves first, if they make themselves a priority, that will come easier. But the other thing is people. You said, like, and I haven't actually intentionally dropped people, but I have noticed that people have dropped off, right, along the way, along life's journey. How do you drop off people? How does that happen?
It's a painful process. And sometimes it takes years, especially when you're in intimate relationships or you have girlfriends or boyfriends or just friendships that you really want or you need that bond with that person. You tell yourself, I really want that person in my life because you see things in that person that you want. But that
Hmm.
comes also when we cling on to other people when we do not know ourselves, when we do not take a deep inner dive. Excuse me.
Hmm. Hmm.
Excuse me. Let me just, sorry.
Okay.
When we have to take a deep inner dive and saying, okay, where am I going? So you know that verse in the Bible that says, "A rolling more scatters no stone." Is it that in the Bible, or
Uh-huh.
is just a?
It's
I
a
think
it's
it's
a
in the
phrase that
Bible.
we say, yeah. It's a proverb
But
kind
I
of
think
thing.
also somewhere it says that, as well as we just going. There's no stability, and sometimes we know because our body tells us everything we need is within us. And once something is not going right, or is going against our live stream or on our true nature, is going to cause us pain. So we are in this relationship and it is not in flow with us, we will be in pain. We will cry. We will be miserable. So we know it doesn't serve us,
Mm-hmm.
but it's hard to let go because for many reasons, maybe it's serving some part of our pain body, some trauma that's existed within our system that we haven't yet identified what it is. Everything comes from some our anger, our happiness, or how we respond, our triggers. This is part of our pain body, and if we don't understand the root of it, we will keep on along the same lines of doing things like the saying goes. I sorry, I can't remember who said it, but we keep on doing the same things and expecting a different result, which is called craziness, right?
Uh-huh.
So
Insanity. Uh-huh.
insanity. Thank you very much.
Right.
um right. So it's all those things that we just have to stop and figure out, if this is causing me pain, then it's not serving me. Pain in the terms of not things like grief, not things like working late at night to reach a goal. I'm not talking about that kind of pain. We know what kind of pain I'm talking about. We
Right, right,
want so
right.
much to hold on to something, and that the
Mm-hmm.
more we try to hold on to something, is the further away it slips from us. This kind of pain, um, being neglected, being rejected, we're in relationships for years that is going nowhere. So stop, step back. It's okay to be friends, and it's okay to say no. It's okay to say bye bye. And if being friends still doesn't serve you, then it's okay to not even block, delete. Press that delete button. Move on. Block them from LinkedIn. Block them from Facebook. You're not really blocking them for them. You're blocking them for you. Because trust me, you're in a relationship with someone that you love. You're gonna try to see what they're up to. That is none of your business. You need to move on. And that is hard. But
Mm-hmm.
my favorite quote in life that kept me going for these past 3 years at school, as well as migrating and starting all over again, having lost my business, is Martin Luther King's phrase: fly. If you can't fly, walk. If you can't walk,
Cool.
crawl.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep moving
Mm-hmm.
forward. And the
Yes.
other part I add to is the snail even reaches its destination. It can take it 10,000 years, but it reaches. And
Mm-hmm.
as they say, it's not really destination, it's the journey. It's the journey. Everybody, sometimes we have to be alone and we have to learn. If we cannot be all alone with ourselves, something is wrong. If you cannot be alone and enjoy your aloneness, aloneness is different from loneliness. We need to
Mm-hmm.
learn that difference.
Mm-hmm.
And if we do not understand that difference, then we cannot share ourselves with somebody else or expect somebody else to be serious about us. So we
Right.
need to learn to appreciate ourselves before giving, whether it's a girlfriend, a boyfriend, or an intimate relationship, or a husband, or whatever it is. We need to be able to learn to love ourselves, and then when we start loving ourselves, that's going to start permeating throughout, and then it's going to be easier to let go and move
Very
forward.
nice.
Step
Very
by
nice.
step. Create an action plan. In everything, create an action plan and keep yourself accountable. Okay, today you didn't do this, but you know what? One step today, 10 steps backwards. Tomorrow, 4 steps forwards, 8 steps backwards. So you see, you were 10 steps backwards yesterday, but today you're just 8. So you've gained 2. So we have to change our mindset that failure is not necessarily failure. I don't have the term failure, because everything that doesn't work out for me, it's a lesson. So what is the lesson that I've learned through this? So everything, if you realize what I'm talking about, is mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Mindset. And there are certain words I don't use, like the word try. Being also a quality specialist, I cannot quantify try. Tell me, if you try to do something today, you were working on this trying to get this to work today. You were
Mm-hmm.
trying. You're not. You were trying, right? You would. How would you say
Mm-hmm.
what you were doing? How would you say it?
Well, trying, I feel like trying sometimes doesn't have a result. If you say
Right.
you're trying, it's just that you're not sure if it's going to work. It's almost like a limbo kind of thing. But you can say you
I
solve
tell
it,
my
or you,
right. For
a
me,
more
and I
action
like to
word.
thank you. You need an action word. Try is not an action word. I don't
Mm-mm.
see try as an action. For me, you can disagree. Everything I say, people are up to disagree, and I'm open to having a conversation. Um, I cannot quantify try, but I can quantify do. So even though I do one step today, you did and you succeeded today. It wasn't try, you were doing. So even
Mm-hmm.
though you did it once, it didn't work. You learned something that you did the first time that you're going to do better the second time, or something you didn't do the first time. You will do it again the second time. So it's not try, you were doing, you were being in that moment. So
Mm-hmm.
I say try is an excuse for failure. Try is an excuse for being afraid to fail, quote unquote. So if you don't succeed, you can say, well, I tried, yeah, but you tried. I tried. So people should tap you on the back that you tried.
Yeah, if
No,
effort.
it's right. It's an effort. But it's an
Uh-huh.
effort when you use the word try, you allowing yourself that space to fail.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving yourself that negative space to, okay, so I'm going to try, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if you tell yourself, I'm going to do, even though is one part of it, you did it. And that helps gain the confidence with yourself. Okay, I did that part. Tomorrow I'll do that part and a little more. Or that part, or tweak it and do something different. We are doing. It's always in movement. We're always in flow. So I do not know what how try is. So I don't use it. And I never introduce it into my vocabulary with my girls, with my daughters,
Okay.
because for me it's always about action.
Mm-hmm.
We are doing, we are being. Who are we? I am being. We are human beings. We are beings. We are here to be, we are here to do. So when we say I'm trying, okay, I'm trying that question, but in the back of my mind, trying is say, I'm trying it, but it might not work. So that is
Yeah, that's my, yeah.
the mindset I have
It's
attached to
almost like
the
an
terminology
excuse
of
not
try.
to do it.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So all that helps in how you feel about yourself, how you project, and how you feel about yourself is going to naturally project to the people around you. You know, when some people enter the room, you just feel them.
Uh-huh.
They just ooze a level of confidence, and then everybody wants to inch up to them. Everybody wants to be around them. Well, all of us have that charisma inside of us. All of us have that charisma inside of us, and whether we want to be around them, that's a different story. But you know we all can gain a level of confidence by determining how well we want to be within ourselves, which comes to the term well-being. Put it together.
Mm-hmm.
How well we want to be. So there.
Okay. Very good. You see, amazing Kathy Robinson, the amazing Kathy Robinson. She
Yeah,
has
you
so
said
much
amazing, Kathy.
insight,
I'm like, oh.
so much to share with us. So much. I'm learning so much from you right now. I just want to go to some of the comments. Martha
Mm-hmm.
Crochet and Delicacy says,
Delicacies.
tuned in the product. Oh, she's talking about product. See, she's meaning product. Anyway, she says, this product has me showing off my hair and taking a break from braids. So I guess she said that when you were talking about your braids. And I want to go back to that point about
Yes,
braids too.
yes.
I will go back. Then she says the hair makes a big difference, but energy is all. So I guess she's talking about the energy. Barbara Bolden says your skin looks amazing.
Oh, thank
Your skin looks amazing, Kathy.
you. Drink lots of water,
William
always,
James.
always.
William James says no. I guess when we were talking about saying no. Norma Thomas says, hi, ladies. Sakafet, 12-minute break, spending time with you. Hi, Norma.
Is that our normal? Hi,
That's
Norma.
our Norma. Yes, that's our Norma. The other Kathy.
Yes, the other
Uh,
Kathy.
yes. Um, Martha says, can't wait to get more products. My hair, oh, it jumped. Sorry. My hair is happy, peel and go. Thank you, Martha. Thank you. Thank you. Kiki Live sends hearts. Shaika says, awesome presentation. That's all, Shaika.
Hi,
Our
Shanks.
Cheryl is here too. She
Thank
says, good
you.
evening, ladies.
Hi, Joe.
Okay, so let me just give a little
Evening to
background for our
you.
listeners. Kathy's actually my classmate. We went to Convent High School together. I'm not going to say what year we graduated because well, they know we're 50, right? So we graduated in 1990.
Yes.
1990, Kathy. Can you imagine so long ago? It feels like yesterday, right? So when
Yes,
we
it
say our
does.
Cheryl and our Shaik and our Cheryl and our Norma, these are also our classmates that are commenting on our live tonight. So thank you, classmates, for supporting us and being there.
And
Norma
not
came back.
jumping
She says, yes,
in.
Kathy number
She
two.
says yes, Kathy number two. This is
Yeah,
Kathy with a Y and I'm Kathy with an E.
right.
Yes.
Okay, so
Awesome.
I'm
Awesome.
going back to wellness and hair, as I know we went into a lot of things like boundaries and prioritizing ourselves and people. Um, Can you give us a little bit about your journey with braids? Because this is one of my pet peeves, teaching hair care. I always tell people if you have braids, it can't stay more than 6 weeks, because you're doing yourself a disservice, really, if you keep it longer than that, because your hair is going to thin, you're going to have all these issues, and that is not really being, practicing wellness for yourself. So, can you give us a little bit about your history of braids? I'll just tell you, in 1996, I wore braids. I wanted to know what braids felt like. I was working at Social Security in Dominic at the time, and I did braids, Kathy. And the whole front of my head was pooling for the whole time I had those braids. I probably stayed two
Right,
weeks with
right.
these things and I took them off, and I've never done braids ever again. That is my experience of braids. For some people, it's different. And I know a lot of people, family members too, that do braids and they're happy with it. Can you share some light on your experience with your braids and let us know what made you decide not to ever do them again? Well, not ever do them, but to stay away from them for a while.
Well, I love the braids because I can put my hair up. It gives me different, allows me to wrap my hair differently a lot of times, Um, and it changes my face. It makes my face look thinner.
Okay.
Um, but as you said, it pulls. So when that constant pulling on your scalp, it breaks off your hair from the root. Okay, so it's
Mm-hmm.
going to at constantly if you take off, and then when you take off the hair, you notice a difference whenever you take off the braids. The hair is straighter. It sometimes can be a bit rough, and it's recommended that if you're going give to put back braids, you give your hair a break for a little while and
Mm-hmm.
treat it. Hot oil treatment, castor oil, heated castor oil, and stuff like that. No natural things normally. I didn't know those things. So I take the braids off, leave it off for a week. And because of the texture and because it for my hair, I'm not sure about anybody else's hair, but for my hair it would take like a good month for the texture to start coming back in.
Oh,
Because it would be
wow.
so coarse that the oils and things would just run off the hair and then to stay very dull, a dullness. And so whenever I took off the braids so my hair after you every year I just cut my hair off. Just cut it. Just kept on cutting it because I didn't like the texture. So every December I cut my hair. It grew back. I put back the braids throughout the year. It would stay for 6 weeks, a couple more. Then take it off, put back. December comes, take it off. It's grown a nice length, cut it. So it was never all the pulling and everything as well would pull on. It recedes the hairline as well. Um,
Mhm.
so I did that for a couple of years, as I said. And then when I last took out the braids 2 years ago, I'm like, no, I left it out for a couple months trying to make it get back to its natural texture. And it was just not returning. It was just not returning. And then it was growing out very thin. It was ugly. I don't know what to do
Mm.
with it. I don't know what to do with it again. So on my way home from work one day, I played with it for a couple of months. I think I'm gonna cut my hair. And then one Friday after work, I just went and sat down in the barber's shop.
Well,
$20.
you didn't think about it
A
anymore. You just went to
Dominican
do it.
Dominican
Mhm.
chair. I couldn't understand one word of the Spanish they were speaking. I was telling him, cut it all off, cut it all off. And it actually looked good. I really spotted that thing. And sometimes we are afraid to take risks,
Yeah.
to do things for ourselves.
Hmm.
And for me, I've never been afraid to take a risk with my hair. So now my daughter does different things with her hair. And my mother says, you just want to kind of talk because your hair was all kind of colors. And this is another thing too. The coloring of the hair, the bleaching of
Uh-huh.
the hair, the
Hmm.
permanent coloring, and not treating the hair and just allowing it to be, not cutting the ends because we want to have the effect, the long hair effect. The long hair effect is just a trend. It's really not nothing much to talk about. Just allow your hair to be itself because your hair tells a story about you, how you keep your hair, how your hair looks, how you feel about your hair. As I said, it's going to go down into you about how you feel about yourself, and how you feel about yourself going to permeate into your work, into your productivity, into your relationships, into your wellness, into how you feel about doing things. So our
Hmm.
hair is really, really, really important. And when I realized that no, I'm not gonna do braids anymore. And the other day I was going to try to put braids. I was going to think about putting braids, and my younger daughter said, no, you said you're not putting braids anymore, and you're not putting braids anymore. So we need also to have people to help us to be accountable, because
Yeah.
sometimes we're gonna feel weak. So what
Hmm.
I did, I just took all the braids and I dump it out. Again, letting go. So it's dumping, decluttering,
Right. That is
dumping,
that is such a
take it
good
off.
point.
Right.
Hmm.
I take it off from my face so I wouldn't get tempted, because I would sit down all night and put the braids back.
Right.
When I want something,
I
I go for it.
As you say
So
that,
I
I
need
want
to
to
do
touch.
that.
I want to touch on a point because a lot of times we feel letting go is about people, about situations, but never about things. We never think of letting go as things. So, we're going to let go of this cup or we're going to let go of this glass. We don't use it anymore. And I feel that relates a lot in our level of confidence, and it relates a lot to our wellness, because having a cluttered space is also something. The way you said you let go of the hair, you just let it go.
Mm,
I
mm.
want to touch on that point because I think a lot of people hold on to things, and that actually clogs up your space to practice wellness. Is there anything you can share on that with us? If
Sure.
you had
Have you
not
ever
if you had
watched
that
the?
experience, but just advice to people on how to let go of things, because a lot of us
I think
think
we've
it's
all
only
had.
people we have to let go of.
I think we've all had that level of experience when it comes to holding on tightly to things. Um, have you ever watched that show Hoarding?
Oh
Or
yes,
Hoarder, the
the
Hoarder
hoarder.
TV show,
Yes,
right?
uh-huh.
Um, why do people hoard?
Because I think, and I'm no
Mhm.
psychologist, I feel it's because there's some emptiness that they're trying to fill with something,
There is some pain that's
some
associated with
pain.
hoarding.
Right, right.
So it's the same thing. Is the same thing by holding on to things in our life. Everything we have, we associate it to something. Look around your space and pick out one thing and tell me why you have it. Go ahead. And our
I'm
viewers
gonna
can do
pick
the
up
same thing.
this cup and this sponge.
Look
And I
around,
have it
look
because when
around
I
your
have to put the
space.
labels around my boxes to ship them out, I use this.
Okay, let's go a little deeper. Look
Mm-hmm.
around your space for something that's
Mm-hmm.
there, but you do not use.
Oh yes, this
You
rubber
haven't
band.
used it for the past year.
No, everything around my space I've used for past year. After I used it like
Okay,
yesterday.
okay, so that doesn't apply to you right now. But okay, visualize something in your cupboard, something upstairs, something in your clothes space, something somewhere
Hmm. In my closet, yes.
that you
There's things
haven't
I haven't used
used,
for a whole year.
you haven't, or they're stored somewhere, and stuff like that. I have
Mm-hmm.
things that I haven't thrown out too that I have to get to that spot. Maybe it's linked to a past relationship that we had some nice memories and we don't want to let it go.
Mm.
Why? Because the memories made us feel good. It made us feel good
Mm-hmm.
in that moment. So every time we look at it, it brings back that feeling of composure, of stability. And maybe that is a pain point that we need to work on: stability, security, safety. Indirectly, subconsciously, that is what that item is giving to us. Being in control, being in control. Sometimes we need to feel that we're in control. If everything around us, we're losing control of everything around us, we need something there that says, I am in control of something. I can, this is so, I'm not going to let this go because this makes me feel in control while everything else makes me feel like my life is just running away from me. So everything that we hold on to,
Mm-hmm.
subconsciously, it is linked to something else. It is linked to an emotion. It is linked to
Okay.
a feeling.
Okay.
And by looking, because if we go back to the hauling show again, these people, they cannot let go of things.
This is just
It is
extreme
really
though.
hard. They fight to let go of things. They really fight.
Yeah.
And we might say,
Yeah.
and we're looking on the outside and we say, oh, it's just a thing. No, it is not just a thing. This means something to them. For some people, they're grieving a mother's love. They're grieving a father that wasn't there. They're grieving a husband that just died. They're grieving a child who died. They're grieving maybe the ability of not being able to have children. They're grieving something. The anger is because of something. The sorrow is because of something. Everything that we go through is because of something. I want to show you a book that I am doing.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, I don't do those things, but I get attracted to certain things, and it's really really work. And one of the things I'm working on also, um, and therapy. It is very very important. I would like to at least just touch on therapy because
Please
the
do.
stigma that we go through on
Please do.
therapy, that
Yes.
we are afraid for people to know that we're probably going on therapy because we're not crazy. Hello, we live in a crazy world. I'm crazy. We live in a crazy world. Life is crazy. We need someone to
Yes.
help us, to pull us back, to help us to be centered, to help us to just talk things through, and also to recognize what are our pain points, what are our traumas, why am I getting triggered to this? What are our triggers and how do we deal with it? And the thing I saw on Instagram, the Shadow Work Journal, it's very good.
Okay.
And because initially I said, oh, I don't need the Shadow Work Journal because I went to therapy for 12 years, trying to figure out myself. And I still have a therapist. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't go to her consistently because I believe working through my mind meditation and stuff, because meditation helps you to grow in awareness of yourself, and being also a certified social and emotional learning facilitator, I've even gone more in awareness and self-awareness to understand my triggers and to understand my emotions and to be able to step back and to when things are getting too much. Last week I had an issue with present day I teach. I had some issues at work with colleagues and some children and stuff. And I realized, okay, what is a common thing around that? My colleagues, the children, I'm the common thing. something is not going on right in here. So I stopped and I stepped back. And it brings me back to a question that you asked me about power. We had that
Mm-hmm.
conversation, giving people power over us.
Right.
And sometimes what I had to do was to step back and I had to reflect. And I went back to this book. I'm like, okay, why am I behaving this way? Why am I shouting? Because when we shout, when we come home, we feel like we've been having a roaring for the whole day. You know, that ease with yourself. You're lying out
Mm-hmm.
there. Rah, 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 rah. Why? Why roar? And then I had to step back and understand that it's your peace. Nobody can control you. You cannot control people. You can only control yourself. You know. And so by
Mm-hmm.
understanding our triggers, why did I react that way instead of responding? Because when you respond, you step back, you take a pause. I call it the gap, and you work yourself within that gap to identify, why did I work that day? Does it go back to one of my pain points? And how do I correct it? How do I go from there? And you go around and you correct it. You make the correction and be at peace with yourself. So that is how I've been operating with myself. When I start feeling uneasy, as I spoke earlier on about letting things go, when we feel
Mm-hmm.
that uneasiness within ourselves, because our body knows, our soul knows, our spirit knows, we need to stop and take check. Let go. It's okay to tell people, you know what, I'm taking a break. I'm taking a break. You know, I'm stepping back. I'm retreating into myself. That's what a retreat is. You don't need to go anywhere because your home, your room can be a sanctuary. Set up a special space for yourself and set that boundary. This is my space to get back, to fill my cup again, to identify and recognize who I am in this moment. Because if my cup isn't filled, or if I'm not at peace with myself, I cannot be at peace with the world. And I
Exactly.
cannot be at peace with things that's going on around me.
Mm-hmm.
So, girl, I've been walking around this lady because when you talk about power, power is having to talk about that person every day. Oh, she did me this. Oh, you blow up
Yes.
in that moment and you leave it and you let go. And you can walk around and circumvent that person every day. Like, not that they don't exist because they're a human being and you need to be recognized that everybody has rights to be respected, regardless of whether you like them or not, or whether they like you or not. You come into their space, good morning, good night. That's all you need to say. You don't need to be anybody's friend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maintain your inner peace. Do
Mm-hmm.
your work, go about your business, and do what you have to do. Maintain your inner peace, because if we cannot have that inner peace within ourselves, then life is just going to life us. Instead of us living our life,
Mm-hmm.
life is life in us. Does that make
You
any
know,
sense? You think?
yes, it does. And
Definitely.
I wanna add to that because something I remind myself every minute of every day, do not let anybody steal my joy. Don't let anybody steal my joy.
Yeah. Oh my God, Martha,
Oh,
Martha,
you can read the
Kathy,
comments.
and
Okay,
Kurt. Okay,
yes.
yeah.
Let's go to
Martha
them,
on the same
right.
page. Oh, okay. I will let Kurt know that. I will let him definitely tell him Goodwill Junior High School.
Yeah.
Ah,
And
okay.
Joanne is saying good evening to us.
Good evening, Joanne. Good evening, beloved yourself. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Um,
So
so
I go
yes,
by that.
Martha
Let
is
no
saying
one
she
steal
switched to
it.
braiding her own hair herself.
Oh,
So it would have been really nice to hear your story about why you switched to braiding your hair yourself, Joanne, in terms of how other people braided it for you. Yeah, I
right.
would
Yeah.
imagine that. But as well as I did my own hair for the past 4 years. My daughter used to do it when we moved to this country, and then
Hmm.
about 4 years ago she said, well, mommy, you know what, you need to make an appointment, and I cannot do it this day, but when I want something done today, so I had to go and sit down and learn how to do it. Nobody gonna cut style on me, I'm sorry.
Oh, so
So
you
I
know how
sat
to
down and
braid
I
like
learned
with
to do it
extensions?
myself. Sorry.
Ah,
Yes.
you mean with
So
extensions?
yes.
Ah, nice.
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay.
She started combing her hair when she was 3 years old. 3 years
Oh,
old.
very
She started
nice.
coming here. Yes, that child, she's the same way. Somebody haven't got time to teach her to sit down and do her own thing. We took too long to teach her to tie her laces. She learned to tie her laces at 3 on her own. And up to this day, she ties her laces in a kind of a way, but the laces are tied and very nicely too. She taught herself to ride a bike in the hallway. She and her sister in a little hallway, those short hallways in the homes. So all that
Yeah.
is being independent, and it also coming being well within yourself, in terms of you being
Mm-hmm.
independent. And there's a difference between independent and being codependent on people, but that's for another day.
Right.
And so yes, Martha, it's glad that you're able to do it, but just don't do it too tight. Make sure you stretch out between the times when you do your hair. Make sure you treat it. And one of the things, let me just do a quick thing in terms. Last week I sat down, I'm like, you know what? My sister shared something with me. Karen, she's a doctor. So my scalp was, I used to have this itch in my scalp for a long time, many, many years, ever since I know myself. And
Mm-hmm.
my brother said, but you know what Karen told me? Kurt said, Karen told him to do, put some Listerine in water, dilute the Listerine and spray it in your, and that has become my routine. After the second
Really?
week, I have, up to this day, I've been doing it for like almost 8 months now. I have no itch in my scalp. So sometimes I was thinking maybe also that is why my hair was staining and not falling up as well. Because we have, and also eating, our eating
Mm-hmm.
habits, drinking lots of water, because the water
Mm-hmm.
is cleansing. We need to drink our water. um we need to exercise, even though it's walking 10 minutes a day. Get a dog, so you must go walk that dog. Like my dog, she sits and she watches me like this. I must go walking. I must take her walking. um so different things, eating right. You can have your fruit water. If you don't like drinking water, do some flavored water, lemon, raspberries, strawberries. Remember in the course I did, Gail, the month
Oh yeah, because you did with
health
us, yes. Mm-hmm.
program I did with you all. We had a thing like that to do that water. Eating smaller portions, eating healthier, cut down on the processed foods. All of this good healthy eating, um, our gut health is very important as well. So all these things will reflect on our glow of our skin. Although I can attribute it to being Pat Kalinago. um, but also, you know, I still have to work on the eating right, because sometimes I like to munch. So I've been munching more on fruits. I'm trying my best to eat fruits and nuts and cutting down on the portions. But I still cannot give up ice cream and buy chocolate. Roman raisin nuts, those Cadbury ones. Oh my goodness, fruit and nut bar, you know. So, but eating in healthy portions. Um,
Mm-hmm.
all in. What is the word I'm looking for? In not overdoing it, not
Okay,
underdoing it.
all in moderation.
Moderation. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yes, so our eating habits, what we wear, how we sleep at night, drinking our water, all of this helps in terms of our wellness and how we feel. If we feel we cannot do the exercise like everybody else, do you, because we need to know ourselves and we need to know what works for us. It's okay to try different things. You will figure it out what works best for you. And
Right.
if you cannot get it to work for you, then get an accountability buddy. Team up with someone that's going to help, that has the same goals as you, that's going to help you to get through that. And also take it in small clusters. Don't say I'm going to do this for the year when you know you cannot do it for 5 days. Tell
Not even one
yourself,
day.
we're going right. I'm going to do it twice a week. I'm going to do this twice a week. When you have mastered twice a week or once a week, then you go on 2 days. When you have
Mm-hmm.
mastered 2 days, you go on 3 days. And that's how we do it, in small bits, until you can get it. And it's not called failure if you don't get it in the first year. For my past vision board for the past 7 years, I was supposed to be fluent in Spanish. Since I was working with Coca-Cola 20 years ago, I was supposed to be fluent in Spanish, because everybody who I did audits with and had to report to was Spanish speakers. Yeah. it's 2024 and I haven't done Spanish yet, but I have started. So I've been going on YouTube. I selected something. I saved a folder for Spanish, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm beginning to assign 10 minutes a day for doing my Spanish classes on my
Okay,
own.
that's
Yes,
a start.
but I have
Mm-hmm.
right. Yes, so and I have an accountability buddy who keeps me accountable for that. So so that is how I keep myself well. And of course, checking in with CHS girls. We have some funny jokes in there. Thank you, Cheryl. You're awesome when it comes to that. And all the other wonderful ladies in there. So I want to give them a shout out.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And Gail, I see we are coming down, and I really, really want to thank you for allowing me your space and your
Yeah.
platform to share that wellness with those who have joined us. Hi, Carol. Good evening. Long time, Carol. Glad that you could be there. Thank you so
It
much
is for us. It's
for the
Miss Hazel. It's our Carol. She taught us.
oh,
Remember,
excuse me.
Miss
Excuse me.
Hazel.
Sorry, Miss Hazel. You know, when we get up there, we forget the respect
Yeah.
part
Uh
because we
huh.
figure we're on
Uh
the
huh.
same
We go on
same
first name
level.
basis, like we big.
Yes, yes, yes. So yeah. This was really
Kathy,
awesome.
I think we need to have a part two of this because there's a lot of things we didn't touch on. We didn't touch on stress management. All this is part of wellness. We didn't
Yes.
touch. We touched a little bit on sleep, but not a lot. So that's another thing that really helps with wellness. So we have to have a part two.
Oh, sure. And can I just use
Yes.
your platform to advertise a little bit? So
Of
I'm
course,
also
that was the
starting.
next part. Yes, before we close, you're gonna tell us what are your new projects, what you're gonna do, how we can reach
Yeah.
you, and all that stuff. Yes, definitely. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
my cousin told me today. So what's the next project? You're always on a project. So in following up with my pact that I made with my aunts when my aunt died, I vowed that I was going to really fulfill the things that I set my a journey for myself. And I'm finally going to come through with home conversations, which stemmed from the conversations my daughter and I have, because we have some really, really intense conversations that I felt would benefit families. As And not only the adults, it's about children. It's about learning from your children. I learned about the difference between Gen Z and Gen X, about different things about the LGBTQ movement, about sexual identities, things like that. They taught me. They are my urban dictionary to Gen Zs and the millennials lingo, because they have their own language and they have
Mm-hmm.
certain things. And in
Mm-hmm.
teaching the children that I teach, they try to pass things over my head, and it will be so very good. I'm like, you cannot pass this over my head. Or I don't know something, I'll take it to Ash and I say, Ash, what did they say? Say, Mom, no, mommy, no, 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 don't make them sing that song, or don't make them use that phrase. They pull it one over your head. So I learned a lot, and so home conversations begins next week Tuesday at 8, and where we talk about everything in terms of family. So we bring in the wellness as well. And on Thursdays, I will be doing what I call movement. The name might change, but in the first couple of minutes, which is like what we did, we talk about a certain topic like stress management. So it can be an extension as well, Gail.
Uh-huh.
And in the second half, which is the next 50 minutes, is a half an hour to 45 minutes, I do yoga. So we do yoga classes. So we introduce, so maybe I might, oh, I started it before. 2 years ago, I did it. I started it 2 years ago. Um, I call it the master class. So we did
Mm-hmm.
a whole session on sleep, a series on sleep. For the first 15 minutes, the second 15 minutes was movement into yoga. Because for us to get a good night's sleep, sometimes introducing some good movement into our bodies, which helps our
Mm-hmm.
bodies to relax and exuding that stress from our
My alarm
bodies.
went off.
Yeah, well, alarm went off. So yes, so that's what we're doing starting next week Tuesday, and next week Thursday we'll be doing that with Kathy.
Okay, so guys, tune in on Tuesday at 8 o'clock. You said, right, Kathy? On
Yes,
Tuesday?
I will be starting it on Facebook. Facebook, and maybe I might use that platform because this platform seems to be very interesting, Gail. So we will
It
talk about
is.
that
Oh,
in our next session. So
thank you.
yes, our
Thank
boss
you.
lady session. So yes. So thank
Okay,
you for
so
allowing me for that, Gail.
yes, you're welcome. Thank you for coming. Let me just read two comments from Shaika. She said, "Thank you for sharing tonight. I've learned how to better care for myself and my inner peace." And she said, "May you both continue to be fruitful in your endeavors." Thank you very much, Shaika.
Thank you,
Thank
Sasha.
you.
And you are there to keep us accountable.
She will keep us accountable. Let's use her. Okay, so next Tuesday at 8 o'clock, we're going to join Kathy for Home Conversations. And it's going to be on your Facebook page, Kathy?
Yes.
On her Facebook page, Kathy Robinson Petta. So if you're not following her now, please go now and do that because next Tuesday, we're all going to come on and support her for Home Conversations. Next Thursday, she's also doing movements. And that will be at 9, you say, right?
Yes, 9 because
At
I
9.
figure closer to
Okay.
bedtime, people can
Right.
relax and get some, yeah.
Okay. All right. Very cool. I can't wait. I'm
I
excited for
know. I'm
you.
excited. Yes, I am.
Yes,
It's
yes,
also a part
yes.
of it's really a part of the journey when you're doing new things and you're seeing you are actually realizing your dreams and your goals. And goals and dreams can take years to realize, but everything happens when it has to happen. I mean, that's something I've
Yes.
learned to accept.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on Curl Talk tonight. Thank you so much for sharing all these wonderful nuggets with us. I've learned a lot from you, and I know our viewers have enjoyed all the discussion. And from the comments, we know that they have learned something too. So we're gonna have a part two, and we will plan when we're gonna do that because there's so much more we can discuss on the topic of wellness that we have not touched on. So thank you for joining me, Kathy. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you
I
so
will see
much,
you
Gail.
on
I
Tuesday at
appreciate
8
you
because I
and
will
thank you
be
so
listening to
much
your
for
home
having me
conversations.
on.
Okay. Thank you, Carol. Carol said she really loved it.
Thank you, Carol. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
Miss Hazel.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us tonight. And we will have a part two and we'll let you know when that's going to be. Good
Thank
night.
you. Night.